Hi everyone, I'm Miranda and welcome to my bariatric journey. I just had my surgery in October of 2020 and I'm looking for recipes that are bariatric friendly but work for a family. I am a mother, married mother with two teenage boys. I live in Ontario, Canada, and I do find it hard to find recipes with all ingredients that I can get where I am and with all the stuff that I need. So I've decided that I'll just start this channel and I'll try to find recipes or adapt recipes to do what I want them to do. So that's my idea. Anyway, this is my first video, so please be kind for the first time, but I will be posting more, hopefully every week. And let's get started. So today we're going to make soup. Soup is pretty good for after your first week of surgery, once you're off clear liquids. I'm not making a soup you can have during the clear liquid period because there's really not much you can have then. Unfortunately, you have to stick to what the doctor says, just your jellos and your fat-free jellos and your low-sodium broths and your tea and water. And that's about it, unfortunately. But after your first week, you're free to go on, at least with the doctor I went to, I was free to go on soup. So this is a cream-based soup that is low-fat, high-flavor, hopefully, and I'm adapting it because, again, can't get everything where I live, or some of the stuff is a little too fatty for what I need on my journey. So that's why. So we're going to need chicken broth is one of the things. We're going to need chicken breast and bacon, pepper, some low-fat cheese, not fat-free, some skyr Icelandic yogurt. You can also use Greek yogurt, but I like the skyr. I find it smoother than Greek yogurt, and it's a 0%. Potatoes, a carrot, some scallions, and an onion. And also some skim milk powder. The skim milk powder was probably the hardest thing to get where I live. They do have milk powders at the store, but most of them are whole milk powders. So I had to go on Amazon to get this. I'd like to give a shout out to curvylogic.com. That's where I was looking for inspiration. The links will be down below. And Carolyn Kastner at eatingwell.com. This is actually mostly adapted from her recipe. I got some of the ideas from lots of other places. I'll link everything in the description below. But this is what we're going to make. And it's a loaded baked potato soup. Hope you guys like it.
We're going to start this recipe by prepping our onion. My technique is not at all professional. We're just going to be chopping it into small, so mincing it, basically. We're going to be mincing our onion. Now our bacon, just 2 slices, cut it into small pieces. I normally cut it lengthwise in half, and then I start cutting it across so that I get nice little squares of bacon. Our chicken, we're going to chop into 1/2-inch chunks. Any big fatty pieces, just cut them off and discard. Again, my technique is not professional at all. It's probably pretty funny to watch me cut stuff. Now our carrot and potato, we want to chop into very small pieces. We'll be boiling these for about 10 minutes. The larger the pieces, the longer you have to boil it. I normally cut my carrots into just very thin rounds. And I also cut my potato in half and then in 4, and then I cut that into thin slices. And finally, we're just going to chop some green onion for garnish. I use some kitchen shears that I just have in my kitchen for this purpose. Of course, they were off screen when I was chopping. All right, that's all our ingredients prepared. Let's move on to cooking. Into a soup pot, we're going to add our onion and bacon. We're going to saute this over medium heat for 5 minutes until the onion is tender and semi-transparent. I'm speeding this part up. Pretty boring. See how all the fat is running out of the bacon? That's good. We're going to discard that later. Now we're going to add our chicken. We're going to continue cooking and stirring until the chicken is fully cooked. I will stir. I'll put the lid on for a couple moments. I'll stir again. That way I know the chicken is actually cooking there. Again, more fat will render out while you're doing this. So once we've completed cooking the chicken, you want to remove that from the pot. But do this with a slotted spoon to try and leave all the accumulated juices behind. We're going to discard this. It's just fat and we don't need it. I've now taken that chicken mixture and finely chopped it into smaller chunks. As where I am in my journey, I can't deal with very large bits. If you want, you can also blend this right down to suit your needs. Next, we're adding the veggies to the now empty pot. We're going to top these with our chicken broth. At this point, you want to bring them to a boil and simmer on medium-high heat for about 10 minutes. Going back to our potatoes, we can see they are nice and fork tender. If yours aren't nice and fork tender, just give it more time. At this point, we're going to want to remove about half of the vegetables and mash them up. This helps give the soup a nice creamy consistency. If you're still on your fluids, mash them all. It won't change the flavor. Once we've mashed them up, we're just going to add the veggies back into the pot. And now we can add our yogurt, which we have creamed together with our milk powder. Don't worry if it looks a little chunky at first. The milk powder does need to rehydrate. Now we add our chicken mixture back in. Remember I said we chopped this up. So it's going to look a little bit smaller than when you first cut it because we chopped it after it was cooked. We're just adding that back in. Again, you can blend that all completely if you need to. And now we're going to add our cheese. I did leave aside a little bit of cheese for garnish. So I did half a cup of cheese, and I probably only put about 3/4 of that cheese in, and I left about 1/4 of it aside just for the garnish when you're done making the soup. Now we're just going to allow that all to mingle and sit for about 5 minutes on medium-low.
Okay then. So here is my lovely Dutch oven where I've been making it. Ooh, wow, that looks pretty. I was really scared there for a second. I totally thought it was going bad because I forgot to film me putting the dry milk powder in the yogurt and mix it up thinking that would hydrate it enough, but when I put it all in here, the dry milk powder wasn't hydrated yet, so it kind of did a thing. But after using the whisk on it, it's completely sorted itself out. Now, if you are on your first fluid diet, you are going to want to not have this whole like this. You can take your 1 cup or your half cup or how much you're eating and you can blend it in a blender, and I promise you it will taste just as good. I blended all my soups when I was in that stage. I'm not in that stage anymore, but I did blend all my soups when I was in that stage. So we have bowl here, and I have my 1 cup measure because that's how much I can have. So let's see. Try to get 1 cup without having to chase the food around too much. Okay, that's 1 cup. Here we go. And we're going to garnish that with a little bit of cheese. And that is the lesser fat cheese and a little bit of this. And let me show you what this looks like. So here's the soup completed. As you can see with the garnish on it and everything, looks really good. There's nothing that's like not supposed to be there. And it smells delicious. Even just with 2 slices of bacon in there, it smells so good. And I did use the low sodium bacon, so I mean, points for that. If you wanted to, you could use turkey bacon, any bacon you want, but I do find low sodium bacon at least gives you that flavor. Okay, here we are. So now for the taste test. It's got some chunks of carrots, some chunks of chicken, some of the garnish, a little bit of chunks of bacon. Oh, so good. Oh my god, I can't wait to try this. Okay. I want to get a little bit of everything on my spoon though. Oh. Well, that's exactly the flavor you're going for. Oh my goodness. Excuse me, talking my mouth full. That is so good. You can taste the chicken. You can taste all of the stuff in there. Now, if you want, you can add pepper. Pepper is in the recipe, but a few people in my family aren't really fans of pepper, so I don't add it. But you can obviously add it at the time you eat it. I would avoid the salt, though, because, again, after bariatric surgery, that is one of the things we want to avoid. But everyone else is more than happy to add salt, pepper to theirs. And I'm just going to eat this. It's so good. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining me for my very first post. Hopefully, I'm less nervous next time. If you couldn't tell, I was a little scared. And we'll try something else next week. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night. Bye.